Assalamu alaikum. Suleiman Rahim here. Welcome. Let's slay some demons. Sisters and brothers, as we have been saying for a while, we're in very troubling times that's worsening every day. Confusion is rampant. Like I said, to be distress amongst the nations. And here you see, I have a couple of verses. And it shows you how Suleiman himself would feel. And he's on top of it. He has the knowledge of the seals, the knowledge of the angel. And look at the condition that he's in. What does it say? It says, I have come to cast fire upon the earth. That's the four winds. Okay? And I wish it were already kindled. He can't wait. He said, wish it already happened already. So it's not happening when he wants it to happen, because if it was up to him, it would happen already. So he wished it was kindled already. So if he's in that condition, imagine the condition everyone else is in. Like it says, no one knew the hour of Farad. That's his call. But it says, I wish it were kindled already. And it goes further. Look a little further down in verse 50. How distressed I am until it is accomplished. Distressed. So if someone has knowledge of an angel, feels that way, until that gives you some idea of condition we're in and what we're up against, and it's only going to get worse. So I share in your frustration. But that's the nature of the beast, so to speak. That's the way it's going. That's the way it is. That's the way it's unfolding. Said he came to bring division. Well, I have a video that speaks to that. It's an old one, so you may not have seen it. But it's referring to the war between the Europeans, America, Russia, Eastern Europe, Western Europe, Britain, so forth. That's what it's primarily referring to. So he's bringing division, so he's bringing the war. War Armageddon is what he's talking about. See? I'm not going to go into break this down here. But this also is talking about that Brexit. Because it says, and during this time, see America and America, Gog and Magog, Britain, were not united because Great Britain was part of the UE. That's what this Brexit's all about. See? So what it's telling you here is that there's going to be a division between Britain and Europe. They're going to break away. Now, it's a coincidence, right? That the final decision is probably made within the next few days, next few weeks. Final separation. I probably should talk about this more in detail, but we got a lot of things to talk about, brothers and sisters. And if you can find the video, you'll see I talk about it. I explained this. I said that's what the case would be. And now we see it happening before our eyes. Okay, brothers and sisters. This is about Babylon, the fall of Babylon. What I'm doing here is there's 3 chapters. I'm comparing them together so you can get a better understanding of what's going on. Because you can't look at one chapter in isolation. See, you break one chapter down, see, and you break another chapter, and then another chapter will clarify the chapter you just broke down. because it adds information to it. See, it adds color to it. It's like having a black and white TV, and then they start, implementing colors. See? So when you read chapter 11, it tells you certain things. Chapter 18 tells you more about those certain things. Chapter 12 tells you more about those certain things. So they're all working together, and you're putting together to get more and more information, which you'll see as we go into it. Okay, brothers and sisters, let's move into it. Okay, sisters and brothers, this is chapter 18. I'm going to go into it a little more detail than normal. Not excruciating detail, but I'm going to explain a few things so you have a better understanding what's going on, because this is talking about what is happening now and what's about to happen. And what's about to happen will take place very fast. It's been very quick, right? So it's going to come on you all of a sudden. It's momentous in the heavens and earth, right? But it come to you all of a sudden. So it's on the way. We just have to make sure that we see all the signs in place. Someone will tell you it's going to be a thunderstorm coming. You don't see any clouds, anything. You say, well, when is it coming? And then all of a sudden you start seeing clouds and lightning and thunder. You know that it's about here. Okay, so it starts off, it says chapter 18 now. So I'm not going to go into read all the verses 100%. I advise you to take and bring out your scripture and read it as we're going through this. Now, normally what I use in transliteral version when I'm talking about Revelations, the Angel, and the New Testament. Okay, but primarily for the Angel. I mean, the book of Revelations. But I use it for the so-called New Testament. For the Old Testament, unless it's something critical, then I just go out and there's a site they call Bible Hub, BIBLEHUB. So what I'll do is I'll Google and I'll say when I'm looking for like Babylon's Fallen and space Bible Hub, and then it will bring up, you know, that site and has a multi group of translations: King James Version, New World Version, Old King James Version, whatever, right? And so for most cases, that's sufficient. Okay, but for the New Testament, specifically for the angel, right? I use the transliteral that I get from Jehovah's Witness. They have a free version on their site. It's downloaded. Okay, so here, this chapter 18, beginning of chapter 18, the fall of Babylon. That's this whole topic is all about. After this, I saw an angel stepping down from heaven, having authority great, and earth was lightened up out of glory in him. Now you have to understand who this angel is. Once you understand this angel is, you understand the timing. See, now this angel, see, I say glory. Well, that in the earlier chapters it tell you who glory is. That's glory, right? You see on the left there. Okay, so that's the first of the four winds. So that's what it's telling you. That's the angel, right? So that means it's time when the four winds blow. They haven't blown yet. They get ready to blow. But see, you know that because they blow after Babylon falls. So he says, and the earth was lighted up out of glory of him. He cried a strong voice saying, Babylon fell. So it's past tense. That's how you know. So he's one of the four. He's one of the four winds. He's the first of the four winds. Okay. So that's where we are at that point in time. Now, it says, it became the dwelling place of demons and the prison of every spirit unclean and prison of every bird unclean. Okay, so you see what God gives? That's Babylon. She's fell from her position, right? Now under there will be a demon. That's what it said, come a dwelling place of demons and the prison of every spirit unclean, because the demons are also spirits. That's it. That's the in the angel, that's the symbols. Spirits are also demons, right? Because the woman, she had many different symbols, right? The woman had some of her parts was demons, right? She was also seven spirits, seven lampstands. So that's what it's talking about. And every bird unclean. Who's the bird? Right? The bird is false Israel. Remember, that's the flying eagle. So they're all there together. That's what it's talking about. That kind of like underscores the fact that that's where she fell to. They're all together, right? See? So she fell where? She was been thrown out of heaven. See? She's been thrown out. So now she's fallen. And she's fallen what? Right? Between Europe and Russia. Right? That's the old Russian flag, but I leave it there because most people are familiar with that flag. Most people are not familiar with the new Russian flag. That's the flag of the Soviet Union. And the other one is the EU, right? European Union. So that also means America's at war with them. She's been kicked out of the Middle East, right? Now she's in that position, right? And she's also at war now in Europe. Okay. It's chapter 18 now. Now we see the fourth, the first of the four winds is blown. His name is Glory. That's his name, right? See? So America just got hit with the first of the four winds, right? And it says, I heard a voice out of heaven saying, come out of her, my people. Who's that talking about? That's Farrakhan. See? He's calling these demons because remember, under there is a demon. That's his people. Come out of her. See? He's kind of saying that now, but you got to sort out throughout all the BS. Right. It says, you be not taking the plagues of her. So there's a plague going on. See? So he's telling people, don't take this vaccine. See? But he's also calling, right? He said there'd be war if you try to make us take this vaccine. That's what he's saying here, right? Torment her, right? Give her a double. You see? There's more to it than that. I'm not going into details, but the double well, I'll leave it like that. So that's what's talking. That's Farrakhan talking. See? When the four winds blow, he goes down too. But that's what it's talking about there. See, that identifies the demons as his people. That says a voice out of heaven. That's heaven up there. Come out from my people. Right? Remember the demons were in there. See, this saying these saints was in, it said demons were in there. Right? So that's his people. Demons. So that means he's a demon itself. You see what it's telling you? So come out of my people. Who's under there? There's a demon under there. That's his people. That means he's a demon also. Okay. Now here we go. This is Babylon again, right? She says a queen, said, says a queen, I will feel no mourning. Now understand what this means, right? It says, says her death, no, it says her plagues will come in one day. Now, I'm not going into details about that, but that one day represents 1 month. It's going to happen quick. And it tells you the nature of the plagues, right? Death, right? So death, you see where it says, where it says, where the sun is right there? That's death up there on top of that the Buddhist figure, right? Well, that's referring to Britain. That's where she will be at. Okay. Death, right? Mourning. Now, mourning, right? Mourning is down here where you see the earth at. See, you understand? Mourning represents position, torment. In other words, you're in a certain position, you're in mourning. In another position, you're in torment. Another position, you're being killed. So those are positions So when you're mourning, that means you're in the bottom position. See, so that means that's part of the place when she's down, when she's thrown down. So when this month happens, right? When the war starts, she's kicked out. These are the things that'll be because it'll happen one day, 1 month, right? So mourning, that means she'll be in that position. Famine represents the demons. Famine also represents the demons, means attacked by the demons, right? And fire should burn down. Fire, that's that's the first of the four winds. That's the fire. Okay? So what's telling you is that when she's kicked out of the Middle East, right? See? It says um, she's going to be subject to famine, that's the second demon plague, and fire, which is the first of the four winds. But the first four winds will blow first before the demons, because when you read the story about the second locust plague, right, it says that angel, that's glory, right? Um, that's not glory. Rain. Rain is that fifth angel, right? That has the key to the bottomless pit, and is given the key. Who is the key? The key there is glory. He had to wait till he had the key. So once that wind blew, then he was able to open up because glory is covering, right, up the demon. Once he opens that up, then the locusts come out, and that's the locust plague. That means, that's these demons. That means they're gonna be tearing up everything. Because remember, that's what Farrakhan was telling. We're going to war, I said earlier, right? So that's what that's talking about right there. Let me say it slowly now. The plagues, death, right? We'll talk about that a little more in a minute, because that refers to when they go. See Magog there, Magog, right? When they go in that position where you see the sun at, right? That means it's death, because America, Magog and Magog share the same fate. Okay, but it says death, mourning, so it means now she's at death. One's there where you see it, and one's there where the earth at. That's death and mourning. So, right? Okay, and famine, right? That's where you see a demon under glory, right? That's the locust plague. But locust plague doesn't go until the fire, right? The fire is the first is the first of the four winds, right? So if you go look in that, and that's the first trumpet. You go and read about the first trumpet. What he does, he brings fire upon the earth. Okay, that's what's going on there. Okay, so at this point, America's it's a sequence here, because America falls first, Britain falls right afterwards. But it's a little time frame here, so we're gonna talk all the details. That's why we get a little more detail here. So you see, Britain hasn't fallen yet. So he hasn't been cast to the sea yet. Because you read chapter 18 first, it says Babylon falls, right? And all those other things happen. And then Britain is thrown into the sea. But all this happens within a month period. That says one day, someone's one. So once the war starts, all this will happen within 1 month. Now, what we see here is, reading chapter 18 again, you see this situation that you can read it for yourself. Like I said, you need to bring out your scripture so you can read it clearly. If you can't see it clearly, it's talking about these three woes here, right? And these are things that happens during that month period. And you read it carefully. You have to read it carefully because there's some very serious coding in there. No, it says it's talking about the collapse of the city. They call it the city the Great. Make sure I got that right now. Yeah, this the city. Yeah, the City the Great. City the Great represents EU. See the blue one on the bottom of the earth? That's City the Great. So that means the financial collapse of Europe, Germany, France, you know, all those countries part of EU. Britain will not be a part of that. Britain will be separated at that time. So we see it happening before our eyes, the final separation of Britain from EU. Okay, so that's what's going on here. So you read this carefully, right? It says, so about the City the Great, says, saying, woe, woe, City the Great, Babylon, City the Strong. See, it's two things there. City the Great, that's EU. City the Strong is Russia. It's talking about two things there. See, but it doesn't say Russia collapses. It says Eastern Europe, Western Europe collapses. See, Europe is broken into two parts, the old Roman Empire. Western Europe is the EU, Britain, Britain's really, not Britain, France, Germany, those. That's Western Europe. The Russian sphere, right, like Czechoslovakia, that kind of stuff like that, that's the Eastern sphere, okay? So if you read this carefully, you see that Russia financial system doesn't collapse, but the European system collapsed. As a result of this war, that's what gets them pissed off. That's how they get in the war with America, because they're supposed to be allies now, NATO, but they're going to be fighting with each other. That was said division. Understand those divisions, that bring a division. You have all European countries fighting against each other. As the Quran says, some of them would surge against others. Okay, so that's the first part there. That's that first woe. It says, woe, woe. And then it goes down and says, woe, woe, the City the Great. Right. First time it says, City the Great, and Babylon, City the Strong. So it's talking about those two at the bottom there, Russia and EU. Then the next time it talks about City the Great, just EU by itself. But in there it talks about City the Great twice. Read it carefully. In verse 16, verse 18, it talks about City the Great under the same woe, woe. So it's talking about those twice. Then you go out to verse 19, right? And it's talking about City the Great again, just once. Now, what does that mean? Okay, we're jumping the gun here a little bit here, but in chapter 12, it says that the woman, right, she was given to be nourished from the face of the serpent for times a half a time. Now, I'm not sure to ask clearly here, but we see that line up there, the red, they also read it symbolic of the serpent. And the face would be where the sun would be, right on top of the line there. So that would be, so that's why you got to read it carefully, because you can't assume it. They say face of serpent must be a bad thing. No, it's angel language, because when serpent is there, right, when all the red ones are there, and the sun is there, he's the face of the serpent. It's just angel language. It don't mean he ain't have anything to do with the serpent. So it says they'll be nourished. That means that's Suleiman. That means he will be there with the Levites. See, during this period of time, because it says times a half a time. So what do you mean? Times a half a time. Okay, where's time? Time is there. Is City the Great, Babylon, City the Strong. That's time. That's even by time. City the Great, Babylon, City the Great, Babylon, City the Strong. That's time. Then the next one, you got City the Great mentioned two times. Times mentioned twice, right? Third time, you just got to see it mentioned once. But that once is half of what was mentioned in the first time. Remember, time actually represents two of them, right? So half a time will mention only one of them. You understand that? It says time. What is time? Time is two of them. City Great and Babylon, City Strong. That's what time is. Times is saying City Great two times. And half a time would be half what time is. What is time? Time is City Great, Babylon Strong. So it's half of that. So that means during this period of time, right, when Babylon falls, that's when Suleiman will come to the Nation of Islam, clean it out. That's like scriptures say, prepare for tribulation. Let's go to tribulation. That's where he removes, set up to remove the demons out. Okay, that's what that means. It'll be in that period of time, which is about to happen during that month. It'll be during that month. Remember, we're talking about a month here. During that month, okay, that's what will happen. So now we're talking about Babylon falling. That's the first thing happens, the war. Babylon falling, right? Then you have the collapse of the European Union, their economics. Part of the reason why they're collapsed, because they're totally dependent upon Iranian oil. Totally. The economy totally depends on it. See? Russia's economy does not depend on it. So they're helping, they're alongside America in this war against Iran. Iran wins the war, kicks America, falls Israel, and Britain out, Gog and Magog out, right? And they remember that Europe was in on it with them, Western Europe, right? EU, and they cut off the spigot. East Europe doesn't have any reserves. They cut it off, so the economy collapses. That's what that's talking about. Okay, let's move on. So now we see where Magog, Britain, was thrown into the sea, and the winds blow. All this will happen within 1 month. See, where you see the sun at, the wind, right under that is Magog. She's thrown into the sea. It says, and lifted up, angel strong, as belonging to mill great, and he threw into the sea, saying, thus on us will be thrown Babylon, the great city. See, Britain is called Babylon, the great city. So she's thrown into the sea. Okay? Understand? Now we're going to talk about chapter 11. We talked about chapter 18. Now we're going to talk about chapter 11 because it's talking about the same thing. Just going to put more color on it. Okay? Now chapter 11 has a unique characteristic that it actually gives times, breaks down times, right? So it gives you, it's like the timeline of the angel. It breaks it gives you all the time, gives you time frame, so you know where you are in time. Okay, so what you have here is that we start out, and it starts out where the witnesses are witnessing against, but they witness against false Israel. The false Israel come online in 1948, same time Suleiman conceived. Both conceived at the same time, they'd be the same age, right? Okay, because that's why I call it Antichrist. Anyway, so this is where they are, they're witnessing. So it says they will witness for 1,260 days, which is 42 months. Divide 1260 by 30 is 42 months, which is actually years. Remember, this is sealed. So 42 months actually means years, 42 years. That means they will witness from 1948 to 1990, which also is a year that the angel, right? And the angel was, seals were broken. And all things start happening. See? Okay, so that's where you are right there. So from 19, that's where we are right now. They're in position, right? Now, where you see the witness are, that's called mid-heaven, because we see God, Magog, all that's part of the earth. That's why I always talk about the earth in terms of force, because that represents the earth, right? But the sea from the bottom, the sea at the bottom, all the way to where you see the elect, that represents the heavens. So the witnesses are referred to as mid-heaven. You'll see in chapter 19, referred to as mid-heaven. That's where they are. So they're in the top seat the major forces in the Middle East, right? And so they witnessed for 42 years. That's what it's talking about. So that'd be from 1948 to 1990. Okay. So we see in 1975, if you notice earlier, the woman was on top. Now, 1975, that's when, right, this great falling away came. See? And the man's sin was revealed. It's a son of perdition. And he would reign for 42 years. Now, keep that in mind. That's another 42 years again, right? But this one's from 1977. See? When Farrakhan came back on the scene, which would put that at 2019. So his rule would end this year. See? So that's very important too, because his rule ends when that war starts. So that should tell you something. So all these things seem to be coming together. Now we just have to see. I have to wait and see, like you have to wait and see. I didn't write the prophecy. I believe the prophecy. I'm studying the prophecy. I'm just like you, right? I'm studying it like you studying it. I'm a little ahead of you, way ahead of you. Okay? So I believe it 100%. Okay? It's like your eyes, right? You have confidence in your eyes, but what you're seeing, you may not be seeing. The crazy people, they see things that they ain't seeing, right? Can they have confidence in their eyes? But they have confidence in you. So we'll leave it there. So 1975 is falling away. So the woman, she fell away now, right? See? Okay. So the witnesses, they're still in the top of, they're still in the driver's seat in the Middle East now. Now here's 1990. What happens in 1990? That's when Papa Bush decides to go in. He's going to take out the Sunni, right? Going to take out Iraq. First Gulf War, right? So that means when they move in, they supersede the power that the Shia had. See? Now they moved in, and they're the power brokers in the Middle East now. America follows Israel and Britain. They're the power brokers. So Israel's got shoved, Shia got shoved down a peg. That's what it's talking about here. And it says, remember, because they were supposed to witness for 40 years from 1948 to 1990. Then it says, right, they've been in this position once they was cast down in this position. They've been in this position for 3 days and a half. What does that mean? 3 days and a half. 3 days and a half for what? See, you can't just, most people assume they mean, in fact, many translations, they keep saying 3 days and a half when there's another situation here where they say three days and a half, which is not the same thing as days 3.5. But they just make that assumption. That's why you have to be careful with these translations. We see that in a minute. But it says 3 days and a half. Half of what? They just assume it's 3 days and a half a day. No, 3 days and a half for 42 years, which is 21 years. So 21 plus 3 gives you 24, right? So that's 24 years. They'd be in that position right there, 24 years. Okay, that means because the war actually started in 1991. They prepared, but the war actually started in 1991. But everybody remembers anything about the Gulf War, right? Some of you may be too young to remember it, but they staged the war. They started preparing for the war in 1990. They put the troops in, and actual fighting started in 1991. So in 1991 to 2015, that'd be 24 years. That means they'd be in that position for 24 years until 2015. See, their power would be superseded by America, Britain, and false Israel. They're the power brokers in the Middle East during this period of time. Okay, that brings us to 2015. Then it says that they will be under the feet of the nations for 42 months. 42 months is 3.5 years. Okay, 36 months is 3 years, plus 6, 42, that's 3.5 years. That means from 2015 to 2018 in 6 months, using March as our first month, because it's the first month of the year, since the beginning of spring, right? That means they'll be on UN control. We see that because that's what happened. They made that agreement with Obama. Obama was president at the time, right? That line actually represents Obama. We're not going to go into that right now. Just leave it like that because I don't want to be distract you or distract myself with this. So at that time, they've been under UN. That's what I mean. They're under the foot of the nations. They trampled down by nations because under UN represents the nations, right? And between 2015, 2018, in 6 months, that's what position they would be in. That's also the time when Suleiman, right? If you read early in the Injil, where he rises, right, to do the sealing, he seals the elect, right? His elect. So the witnesses are his elect, and also the elect up top. That's the rich. That's the seed of Abraham, right? So he seals both of them. That's during that period of time. He says, hold back the wind. What wind? Not the four winds. Another wind we're going to talk about in a minute. He says, hold them back. See? So that would happen during that period of time, 2015 to 2018. And that's when that treaty and everything was set up by Obama, right? With them, right? With their nuclear program. That's when that happened. That occurred. This right on time, what the angel saying, right on time. Right? So it was under control of the nations. They was under UN control. Okay. Okay, now we have this wind. Have two things going on because it says that these two witnesses can inflict the earth with plagues often as will. That means European countries. That means during this period of time between 2018 and 2020, 2018 6 months to 2020 6 months, during that period of time, they would be afflicting the European countries with a plague. That's exactly what happened. It said the earth. It didn't say anything about it, it said the earth. Right? So start out there. And that's what happened right here. It also says, that after the see, this is 3 days and a half, not the days 3.5. It's not the same thing as we said before. 3 days and a half. See? So this comes out to 24 also. But they actually do mean 24 months here. So during that period of time, that's 24 months from 2018 and 6 to 2020 and 6. That would be the 24 months. That's 2 years. And a plague would be occurring during that period of time. But also, it doesn't say, it says after that. So that means this is not like the others. The other one saying that he was in this position for this long, this position this long. This doesn't say that. This position long. He said it took him this long to get to that position. It took him 2 years to get to that position where they are right there. You see there. They was under the bottom, but it took them 2 years to get that position. I mean, it was moving. That's velocity. That's wind. That's the wind that was being held back, right? Now, that's where we are now. See? That wind's blowing. See? It hasn't finished blowing, it's blowing. That's the wind that starts the war. Remember the sixth seal? It says that was the wind, right? It caused the figs. Remember, Satan or false Israel represents the fig tree. Most so-called biblical scholars recognize that because it says it in many places. So that's one thing to have right. And so if that's a fig tree, then that means God, the main God would be the figs, right? It says they got tossed out of their place, right, by that mighty wind. That's what it's talking about. So the wind is blowing. It hasn't blown hard enough to move them, but it's blowing right now. See? So you got the wind going, you also got the virus going during this period of time. See? So you got that conflict between Iran and everything going, getting hotter and hotter by the minute. We haven't got the boiling point yet, but we're very close to it. That's what's going on there. See, 24 months. That'd be 2018 and 6 to 2020 and 6. See? So we're in that period of time now. Okay, here's the war. Now they moved up. Still blowing. Now it's hard enough to move the other one. See, before it was pushing, it was blowing hard. It wasn't hard enough to move them out of their place yet. So now it has done it. Right? So it would happen after that 2 year period. That 2 year period would be 2020, right? And 6, which would put you around September, start from March. So it would happen after that point in time. Didn't say how long after, months later, 2 months. I used to assume a month, but that was a bad assumption, right? I was assuming it'd be November, right? But that was assumption. Like I said, I always said, I don't know the exact date, exact hour. I do the time frame. Only Fra knows that. He's the one, says Michael's angels with the war with the dragon's angels. They say Suleiman and his angels, says Fra and his angels, Michael and his angels. That's what's happening right here, right? So now the wind's blowing enough to move them out of their place. They moved them out of heaven. They kicked out. That's the war. They got this. Michael's angels just kicked them out. She had just kicked them out. The wind was blowing. It wasn't blowing hard enough to move them yet, but now it's hard enough to kick them out. That's what it's talking about there. That's that wind. It's not the four wind. That's a different wind. So when you read chapter 11, it says, in that hour, and it tells you what happens in that hour. Right? It says we're shaking, right? That's the war, right? It says 10th of the city fell. So I've talked about this in other videos. That means, right, 3, 6, 9, and the 10th of the city fell. So there's actually, how would you do that? Anyway, the 10th of the city fell. We'll leave it like that, right? And name of men 7,000. So I'm not going into detail about that. It said 10th of the city fell. Okay, that means that's talking about fall of Babylon. So it's that hour. So it's talking about the same thing. See, that hour is talking about the fall of Babylon, right? The war. That's what it means. That same hour. A lot of things happen that hour. So you read it, see what it says. Say in that hour, right? 10th city fell. Names of men. 7,000 were killed. I don't know if you see my cursor. I'm not going to try. I don't know if you see my cursor. I'm not going to try to explain with my cursor because I really need it. You have to show you what's going on there. See? Anyway, so in that hour represents that month. So let me look at something right quick here. Make sure I understand exactly right. And heard great, and that hour occurred, shaking great, and 10th city fell. And great fear fell upon those, and they gave glory to, okay. Great fear, how it says, great fear became, and left over, and great fear became, okay. We're talking about that. That's the four winds. So I'm not going to detail, it's a little more complicated. But when it says the fear, if you understand what fear means, fear is the fourth of the four winds. His name is fear. See? So that's telling you that the winds blew. It said the war occurred, right? That's one thing that occurred. It said during that hour. Let me look at it again. And that hour occurred shaking great. That's the war, right? 10th city fell. That's Babylon fallen, right? See? And the leftover and fear, right? That means the four winds have blown. All that's going to occur within that one month. So the question is, what month is that? Now, my study of Daniel tells me that Trump is the person that's just going to happen under. So if that's the case, if I got that right, I mean, it's very difficult to tease that out of Daniel. The last two chapters of Daniel it is a capital B. The last two. I ain't even looking into it. I got 9 up to chapter 10, nailed it. When you get to chapter 11 and 12, whoa, it's a headache. See, because the spirit's so subtle, and you got to make sure you got. I don't have a translator translation of Daniel, but I think it's accurate. But I said it's very difficult. So anyway, if that's true, if he's the one, that means this has to happen. This month has to start before the 20th of this month, 20th December, because he's out of office the 21st of January. If you're going to say the month represents 30 days, or something's going to happen and he's not going to be, he's going to get a second term, that's assuming he's the one. Now everything it tells me, my understanding, is that he is the one. And his fingerprints all over it. You know? He's pushing again, because Biden seems to want to reverse all the policies, all his policies. Iran, that's one of the things supposed to happen, right? His antagonism towards China, that's another thing that's supposed to follow right behind that, right? His conflict with Britain, I mean not with Britain, but Europe. Read the fourth seal. It says that fourth of the earth, these all will be taken. Why I say fourth of the earth? Remember I said the earth represents fourth. The fourth of the earth is America. America's the fourth earth they're talking about. And it says they were hit with famine. That's that demons, right? That's the locusts. And with the wild beasts of the earth. So I didn't bring that into here. It's like a lot of things that gives more color to all this, but like I said, I want to talk to the main 3 chapters. Because I have a lot of other chapters. In fact, most all those chapters in there reference this war in one way or the other. I don't think there's any that doesn't. I have to think about that for a minute. So every time you study them, you learn more and more about this situation is about to take place. Like I said, that's the sign. Once it happens, everything changes. So it's just all about around that war, which is all about us. Because what's the purpose of that war? The war is to secure our promised land. We can't go back to. Probably we don't have a promised land to go back to. So that's what starts the whole process. That's what Rod's fulfilling his covenant. I go to prepare a place for you. He's got to secure the land before he can take us back. How you going to take us back? He got to secure land. No, he's not going to get rid of people there. He's going to get rid of the authorities that control the land. We're going to have to get rid of people. That's why Josh had to go to war, because you can still, those Arabs are still there. They don't want to leave. The authorities are gone. The powers are gone, but they still dwell there. But it's our land, and they think it's their land, and they're not going to give it up. That's what's going on here. That hour. See, so it's a 1 month period, and all these things be happening in that period of time. So when's that time start? It's supposed to start soon, and I just can't see how it cannot be Trump, because otherwise, if it's not, if we talk about in Biden's terms, if we talk about this could happen, may never happen. Because he's talking about reverse, getting back friendly with Iran. He's talking about being friendly with China. Now, if they may not allow it to happen, I mean, for his hand, he has to do all these things. See, he's talking about reversing all this. See, remember, Trump has antagonism against Europe. That's why everybody's scratching his head. Man, why you messing allies? You hard on him. You see, so he's fingerprints all over this thing. But Biden just stops it. So if that's true, that means, and all other things happen, we're only days away. Literally. It has to happen this month. Again, that's my opinion. For us to make his move. Now, if he doesn't, then remember, I'm in distress like you are. See? And remember, if you read it, right? See, Jonah is the only one, Susan's the only one, right? They actually got in an argument with God. Remember, read Jonah, got an argument with him. Said, man, you may be going to tell this stuff, and you knew you weren't going to do it no way. Right? And he got an argument about it. Says, well, you hold this thing back. He didn't want to hold it back. That's why he left. He said, now I knew if I go, you want me to go and warn these people, if I warn them, you ain't going to do nothing to them. That's why I got the hell out of here. I don't want no delay. I want you to kick Farrakhan their ass right now. If I go warn them and everything, you ain't gonna do it right now. See? So him and God got arguing about it. So God told him, so I said, wait, look. He says, whatever, right? I still got some people there because see, Nation of Islam, NOI, that's my baby. I gave birth to it. And Elijah, he nursed it. And so you got a lot of people that don't know the right hand and left hand. I'm not going to ban them. That's my baby. So if you got a problem with that, then you just hang on, hold on. And so that's where it was with him and him. It's like, it really, woo. He got hit. Jonah pissed off about that one. No, he knew it. See? Because he said, man, what you rolling up for? We've been there 40 years already? Hell with all that, man. Just go ahead and take care of business. That was Jonah's attitude. Okay, brothers and sisters. You don't want me to get me started on that one. Because I mean, I was going to say something, I better not say it. So here's the rest, right? Four winds blow. Four winds are blowing, right? America's getting hit. False rivers are getting hit, right? The demons are loose. Wrecking havoc up in America. See? Four winds. And this will cause the resurrection. All black folks will come together as a result of this. I'm not showing it here. They all come together as a result because now they're attacking. We're going to get this part about the attacking in a minute. See? All this supposed to take place in a month. 30-day period. Which would be amazing. That's why it says, can a nation be born in a day? Remember? That day, remember it says the day represents a month. It says, a plague's coming one day. That day represents a month. See? During that month, right? That's why I said, can they be born in a day? It's when all black folks come together during this period of time. That's why it says, the Bible says it'd be an amazing thing. So who ever heard such a thing? It says you're going to see signs you never believed in. I'm saying, because, you said right here now, you say, man, how is that going to happen? That's what it says. That's why I said time, unprecedented trouble, said time you've never seen anything like this before. All this stuff will happen 1 month. So therefore, if this happened that fast, and you blind, you haven't studied, anything, how you gonna keep up with it? How you gonna know what's going on? Are you gonna be one of those having a stroke or heart attack because you can't keep up with it? It says men's hearts will be failing, which fear those things coming upon the earth. If their hearts are failing because of fear things coming, what would their hearts be doing once it gets there? Okay, let's move on, brothers and sisters. Okay, now we're going to get to chapter 12, right? This is where it talks about the war breaks out between the dragons and angels and Michael and his angels, right? Okay, at this point, right, this is 1975, right? The woman, in fact, there's an error there. I'll fix it. The woman, right, she, she's corrupted by demons, right? 3 demons. Half of the black people in America are demons. So you see half of the 3 of them. You got the elect, you got the Levites. The nation of Islam are Levites. It was raised by Elijah. Elijah's a Levite. Read the scripture. Read right Exodus tells you right there. With the Levites, when he came back, he had the Levites get rid of demons. He's a Levite, right? This nation of Islam are Levites, right? They're not seed of Abraham. Okay? So this is 1975, right? Here comes the falling away. Remember, this is chapter 12 where it says the woman, she flees into the wilderness. Okay? She flees into the wilderness. That's what it means, right? So now she's not up top anymore. She's fleeing down. So you see, she's in that position now. See? And that's what it talks about the great falling away first, and son of addition revealed. Farrakhan, he twisted all around and said, well, the son of additions are the Jews, and I'm exposing, so now they've fallen away. read it carefully. It says, no, the falling away becomes first. And the son of addition is singular, not plural. It's not a bunch of people, it's one person. Okay, so that's 1975. So now it's 1990, the witnesses are cast down. We talked about it earlier, right? So I'm not going to all the different stages. I'm just showing all, then they all cast all the way down this time when they down to UN control. So I'm not going to go step by step as I did chapter 11. I just want to get you the point. I'm making a general point here. Now, witnesses are cast down, 1990. Okay, we see here the wind blowing again. We talked about that earlier. Wind's blowing, they're moving up. Took them 2 years to do it in the process to get to that position, right? Okay, that's where their position, the war to start. See, this is after 2020/6. That means after September 2020, right? The wind is blown, but it hasn't blown strong enough to move them yet, but it's blowing on them, right? So this is where Michael and his angels go to war with Dragon and his angels, okay? Now the wind is blowing strong enough to blow the figs out of their way because they blew. Remember, they blew up. They shook those figs trees so hard that the figs was shaking. They wasn't ripe yet. That means they forced them to move in that position before they was ready. They was planning something, but before they could complete their plan, right? See, the wind knocked them out of their position. Now what's going on right now? Are they planning something? This big push for vaccination law or something right now during this period of time? So if this is right and this war happens within this month, and all of a sudden they push this, and now you've noticed they're trying to show that black people are the ones that's taking the vaccine. They want you. Why they push this vaccine on you so hard? You're not dying from this vaccine. It's something different between you and the people in Africa, other than your DNA. You have the same DNA, right? It's not killing them. It's not touching them over there. So why is it hurting you so badly? And why they push so hard to give you? Why so care about you so much all of a sudden? They didn't care about you as you're suffering dying from AIDS. And you know, you got black folks are dying like flies with AIDS right now. Right now, they don't even talk about it anymore. See? Once they got the healthcare set where they can give it to, you understand, the other, the strange boys, they don't talk about AIDS no more. Though it's still it's a pandemic, it's killing more people in America, you understand, than this virus is. The flu is killing more people than this virus is. So why are they so in love with black folks now? We got to save these black people. But it's not even affecting Africa at all. They're not wearing masks, no social distancing, anything over there. They got the same DNA you got, but all of a sudden you drop like flies over here. I don't know anyone that's died from it. I don't know anyone that's died from it. Well, that Carson guy that was Trump backer, but most likely he was a demon. Blacks are dying. And they're demons, they get the same thing they get the other Pharaoh's children. They Pharaoh's children. They Pharaoh's black-faced children. So it's not going to pass over them. Why do you think Pharaoh, he can say control, but why is he wearing a mask then? His people are dying over there like flies. Because they're demons. They get the same thing their master get. House Negroes. So anyway, they're defeated. Right? Same thing, remember? This is chapter 12. Now, Pharaoh's, defeated the dragon and his angels. Okay? Like I said, everything is a little color. Now, notice this, he's blinking right here, right? It talks about this flood coming from out of the mouth of the serpent. The red represents the serpent. That line also represents the serpent. That's his mouth under him, right? Out of the mouth of the dragon, right? That's that calf. He represents the dragon, right? That's the mouth, right? And it's attacking, right? The woman who has two wings of an eagle. Who are the eagle? Eagle of the European countries. That's the demon on the bottom. So it can put those three together. Puts those three together. There's a conflict with them, right? But look at this carefully. But it says the leftover. Who's the leftover? That's the saints, right? They're the ones that says that the dragon, what it says about that, right? And it says when the dragon saw that it was thrown out, when his foe was defeated, that's America when so is defeated, American Britain when so is defeated, right? It says, um, and it was made wrathful, the dragon upon the woman, right? That's how he was defeated. The dragon was made wrathful upon the woman. That's that woman he's talking about. The saints there, NOI. And went off to make war with the leftover, the seed of her. See, she's the leftover, because I already mentioned the demon that came out of the serpent, that's Farrakhan. And the demon that came out of the dragon, that's the one, that's the reddish one, right? And the one that has two wings of an eagle, that's the Greek one. The only one left is that one. That's the one it's going to make war with. But remember, it also attacked the one at the bottom there with a flood. Remember I told you, once this war started, they're going to attack both, all blacks. Whether they don't care if you're demons or what. If you're black, they're going to get you. That same thing Adam and Eve told them, do not eat a tree of knowledge of good and evil. There's no tree that bears two types of fruit. So it's one tree of good, knowledge of good, and one tree of knowledge of evil, right? The tree of knowledge of evil, that's those Christian demons. So they look like us, walk us, talk us, they ain't us. They master's children. And the tree of good is sick. And they went and told them not to mess with it, not to eat of it. You devour something, you get rid of it. Told them don't attack them. Said if you do, you will die. That's what's talking about there. So it's telling you, again, that we're going to be attacked. Once this war starts and they're kicked out, we're going to be attacked. That's why the four winds have to blow. You understand, brothers and sisters? I'm trying to put all this together for you. And that's what's going to cause black folks to come together. But also going to cause the demons to tear America apart. That gets back to the story of Samson. I'm not getting to that here. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. I'm trying to put all this together for you. Right? And it talks again about, the woman having two wings of an eagle. It also talks about the serpent, right? Nourishing the woman. Is that said? That's said here. See, it's about before nourish. Yeah. When I talk about the serpent face nourishing the woman. At that time, that's when Suleiman would go to the NOI and clean it up, get it repaired, because all it happened suddenly. Get ready to get those demons out of there. So all this will happen within 1 month. Okay, brothers and sisters. Okay, brothers and sisters, we'll close with that. Hope you've been informative. Hope you understand where we are. And based on my calculation, we're only days away. If it doesn't happen in December, I don't know what to tell you, brothers and sisters. You have to take that with a rod. I don't know what to tell you, because everything points now. Trump's prints all over it. And if Biden holds true to form, he's going to reverse all the things. He's like turning temperature down, though he really can't turn temperature down. That's a quandary there, right? Because he can't turn temperature down, but his policies, he's saying, would turn temperature down, but he really can't, because the pressure is still increasing. So that's a possibility. I mean, he's saying one thing, but the times are going to force his hand. See? And even so, if it's not happening this month, it has to happen, right? Soon within his term, like within a month or two. Because if it goes beyond that, I don't know what to tell you, bro. I don't think it will go beyond that. See? The pressures are dictating the situation that we're outlining, right? But pressure can cause things to crack in different ways. And you can crack an egg in different ways, right? But it says it's going to crack this way, and this is the way that Trump cracks it. So that's why it looks like to me it's going to be him. It's got to be before he leaves. Otherwise, like I said, something happens, he stays in office. That means it could still happen a little further down the line. But still, that throws all the other times off, right? Because it tells you 42 years of summer perdition, right? That from 1977, that'll put you at this year. Okay. The virus, 2020, 1619, 2019, right? All the different times, witnesses, it all put you right in this period of time. So I don't know you, because they all coincide. So I don't think you can make a mistake because they all coincide. So unless you recalculate them another way, they all come together like that. We'll see, brothers and sisters. I'm just anxious you are, like it says. I'm in distress too. See, I wasn't going to say anything. I'm going to say a little bit something. Because there's people that I really care about a lot, right? That has passed away this year, which is very distressful to me. Because I wanted them to see them in the hereafter. And it got so close. Some of them was die hard Elijah Muhammad followers. See? And they was down with the angel too. See? But some more older than I am. I'm 71. I'll be 72 next month. See? And it's a shame to me. I feel well, we have possibilities there. Remember the story about Abraham, how to bring the dead to life? Interesting. So we have possibilities there. See? But like it says, think not of those who have died and we have lies dead, they are alive, but you perceive not. So it took a lot out of me. Because I know these people for years. Some of them, one person I knew her for 50 years. She actually walked with the messenger. 50 years. And she passed away just a few days ago. She was hanging in there too, boy. She was trying to make it. Okay, brothers and sisters. So here we are. Hold on. Assalamu alaikum.